Welcome back, VC. Mark here. Welcome to Recent Vinyl Finds number 38. As you can see, we're back up in the record room. It's extremely windy and cold today. I went to the flea market this morning. I would have to say probably 50% of the vendors were not there. Of course, we're coming to the end of the season as well, but I was able to find a couple albums and a nice little stack of CDs. I have a few other items that I've purchased over the last week or so, and I'm going to start out with a couple Amazon purchases. I don't buy albums often from Amazon, and usually when I do, they're Blue Note Classic titles or Tone Poet releases. If there's a $3 or $4 differential, I'll always go to my local record shop. But in this instance, these two titles were 50% off of the suggested retail. As a consumer, just made sense to purchase them from Amazon, especially with the price of vinyl going up and up. So I'm going to start out with these two titles. The first one is by Ruben Wilson, Love Bug. I was not familiar with this title. Someone featured this album in the community. I forgot who. Sounded interesting. This has Leo Morris, Grant Green, Lee Morgan, and George Coleman on it. This was $13.50. The next title is a holiday release. This is Duke Pearson, Merry Old Soul. This is going to be a fun listen, filled with holiday classics: Silent Night, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Sleigh Ride, Little Drummer Boy, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Nice addition to my Christmas vinyl collection. This is also $13.50. I picked up a couple items from the Honey Hole. The first one is this blues comp, The Story of the Blues on Columbia. Paid $2 for this. 2 LP set. I've said this before, most of the items that I pick up from the Honey Hole have not been played. This is no exception. This is just filled with blues classics: Black Snake Moan by Blind Lemon Jefferson, Pigmeat Papa, Leadbelly. There's Mississippi John Hurt, Stackley Blues, Bessie Smith, In the House Blues. Just filled with great artists: Joe Williams, Brownie McGee, Bo Carter, Memphis Minnie. Just a great comp. And then I picked up this 2 CD set, 1950, the R&B hits. And this is out of the UK. And this is also filled with a bunch of classic artists, classic songs. I have to take my glasses off to read this print. Let's see, Ivory Joe Hunter, Little Esther, John Lee Hooker, Roy Milton, Amos Milburn, just tons and tons of great artists. Lightning Hopkins, Roy Brown, Lowell Folsom, Johnny Otis, Floyd Dixon. Really great. Can't wait to listen to that one as well. Before I go over what I bought this morning, I wanted to share a collecting habit with you. I've always tried to be environmentally conscious in my collecting. As a community, we are many things. Green, we are not. Let's start with the vinyl. 180 grams, not necessary. When we get the albums home, we take them out of the paper sleeve, which is from a renewable resource, a natural resource, and we slip them in another petroleum-based product, a plastic sleeve. And then to top things off, we buy an outer poly sleeve, which is another petroleum-based product. So you add all that up, and it doesn't fare well for the planet. I would say for the last 15 years, I volunteered at my local library. I always help with our annual and semi-annual book drives. It has not been consistent over the last 2 or 3 years because of COVID, but we are getting back on track. So the library will accept books, sheet music, maps, records, and I'm kind of in charge of the records. The bulk of the albums that we do receive are classical recordings. The folks who buy these albums at library book sales are very particular. I think people who buy classical albums in general are very particular just because of the nature of the music, the dynamics, the soft passages, etc. So I would say 75 to 80% of the records are not put out. They'll be recycled. But as I do that, I always keep the inner sleeve, because many classical records come with a padded inner sleeve, and I have shelves of these sleeves that I've collected over the years. And instead of going out and buying a new padded inner sleeve, I will reuse these. They're wonderful. They hold up well. I'll have to tell you, I need to go through my collection and replace the outer sleeves. I've had many of my albums in the same protective sleeve for decades. I really like the new sleeves that are just clear. They really kind of frame the album. They look beautiful. I have to start that process, but at the end of the day, what are these things used for? To protect the album. So do I need to, buy thousands of new sleeves and have my old ones going into landfill? Anyway, I kind of jumped off track with this, and I know audiophiles are just cringing right now, but just kind of makes me feel better, makes me feel like I'm doing my small part. In regards to the paper sleeves, if you take out the album properly, those paper sleeves are not going to leave scuffs on your album regardless. So anyway, back to my finds. I only found 2 albums today. I do have a near mint copy of this album. I couldn't pass this one up. It's a Walt Disney album. It's A Small World. This is a wonderful album. It has a beautiful booklet inside. I would say it's from maybe the mid-60s. Classic, just classic pictures of Disneyland. Really wonderful. Then I found this James Brown title. The gentleman was asking $20. He accepted $15. I do have this album. This album is so clean. It's cleaner than my copy. Again, if you collect James Brown, these are always beat. Even in a record store, it's hard to find one in pristine condition. The album has just a little bit of wear, not a lot, has a little bit of ring wear. This is a 2 LP set, just a classic James Brown release, one of his most realized titles. Classics throughout the whole album: The Payback, Stone to the Bone, Mind Power, Shoot Your Shot. Awesome LP. I bought these CDs for $1 each. The vendor had loads of Kiss titles. I was with my buddy. He's a huge Kiss fan, huge 80s metal fan. Let him go through them. I just picked up the ones that he did not want. Lots of great titles in general. Getting back to the library, if you've ever taken out a CD from the library, they put those in those special cases. They do not come in these plastic cases. I buy these off of them, so when I get a CD at, let's say, a flea market that's in great condition, but the case is scratched, I'll switch it out to one of those cases because they're usually new. Obviously, this is the Ramones. End of the Century. Great CD. On Sire. This one has a bunch of bonus tracks. Really nice. Godsmack, number 4. Of Monsters and Men. My Head is an Animal. Really great CD. Puddle of Mud. This next one was a blind buy. I am not familiar with this artist. Looks interesting, still sealed. This is also sealed. Gretchen Wilson, All Jacked Up. Robert Plant, Band of Joy. David Bowie, Earthling. A lot of you are not going to be familiar with this release. This is by a lesser-known band. The name of the album is Nevermind by Nirvana. Next one is by Van Halen, and this is an import, part 2 of a 2-CD set. Sting, Bring On the Night. The Who, Who's Better, Who's Best. Looks like this is a record club edition. Kiss Unplugged. Another record club pressing. Lyle Lovett, Joshua Judge's Ruth. Hotter Than Hell. And Metallica, Justice for All. So that's all I have. Thanks again for tuning in. Stay safe.